This is part 3, Rant to the Luciferians. I wonder what it was like for Luciferians to sit back and observe this last week. Virginia Tech, 32 dead, an assassin. Who was this man? Where did he come from? Who trained him? Why was he so precise? All that he did, the damage. Today is Friday, and the United States is having a day of mourning. And there is a time across the nation that people are reflecting about what occurred and how it could occur and why it occurred. And all the questions are there. But for many of you who are Luciferians, many of the chosen ones know deep down inside what is to come. You know what's going to happen. Even Muslim sleepers in the sleeper cells, you have an idea that this is nothing, that America has seen nothing yet. And so let me speak to you today, because listen, when we talk about assassins or assassination, and that's what it was an assassination. It was an absolute surprise attack. J.F. Kennedy was assassinated. Reagan, there was an attempt of assassination. We see this with Muslim sleepers all over the world. We know in the United States there are sleeper cells. There are Muslims committed to a day in which they're going to be released, and they're going to create havoc and shoot and kill and maim and blow up places, just like we see in Baghdad. And there are Muslims that will definitely agree, and I encourage you to write me and let me know and tell us some of the things that you are planning and what you know and the reasons why. Look behind the madness. Look behind the anger. Look behind the darkness that encroaches your soul to consider doing this. But there is an entire group of individuals that are just now beginning to be addressed across the nation. There again is the nation that is running from the collapse. There is the fear, the looming fear that chaos is about to break out in a way that the world has never known. That is biblical in its description. God has given us a picture of the upcoming chaos that will strike the United States and Europe prior to the rise of Antichrist. So those who are listening right now that are Luciferians, I encourage you. So many of you are just listeners, and you hear what I have to say. Some of you write me. Now, you never use your real names and so forth. That's okay. We're not trying to locate you or find you. Use whatever name you want to. Go to the library. Go somewhere you know how. You're pretty proficient in the area of information technology, and you know how to write emails without them being traced and whatever else. That's not our agenda. Our agenda is to engage you, to maybe even, listen very clearly, save some of you. Because deep down inside there is a part of you that doesn't want to do this. But something within you, many of you chosen ones, you have no idea. Maybe you know that there's some level of training within, there's some level of, something deeper within, and you've never gotten to the sleeping assassin or the sleeping suicide programming that's placed inside of you. Well, let me talk to you right now, because many of those who are listening right now, our ears are alert, our eyes are wide open to what occurred down at Virginia Tech and what's occurred across the United States in different measures. And we have not seen anything yet. We're going to see this happen again and again in isolated areas, but the Black Awakening is coming. It may be closer than I have even conceived at this point. I've been thinking 5 years, maybe 10 years. Maybe it's less than that. Maybe it's a couple of years away. But prior to this Black Awakening, in which assassins just like what we saw down in Virginia Tech will be unleashed in 5,000 or 10,000 locations in the United States. Listen, America, there are sleepers among us. There are sleepers among us who have been created, who have been initiated, who are Luciferic in their background. They are connected to the old bloodlines. I'm talking about the Nephilim, and we can get into all of that if you want to. But I'm talking about something that is the most secret, the deepest secrets of hell itself, is the coming great revolt, great chaos. Now, again, Luciferians in the Masonic order and others like Helena and Alice Bailey, many of them have had the ascended masters, the demons, speak to them about this day and talk to them about a coming cleansing And that cleansing involves the getting rid of that which stands in the way of the rise of Antichrist and these satanic superpowers that are just under the surface in Europe and ready to explode onto the scene. But they will never come on the scene without this great chaos, this great anarchy, this great collapse of known civilization. The Antichrist must bring the United States down in a collapse and bring Europe down and create the fear. Now, there's so many things behind the Black Awakening. I've decided prior to the release of the book that I will now take the course that we've taught on and we've done in seminar form, and about a 10-hour CD set with notes, outline notes. It'll be done by Friday the 27th of April, and if you want those, we're going to put those on the website, shatterthedarkness.net, and we're going to offer those in view of the coming book and also in an early preparation. What we're talking about is not just conspiracy, though there is a conspiring behind the scenes that goes back 3,000 years in a prophecy in Psalm chapter 2. And you can read about the nations conspiring together. That's related to Revelation 19:19. The ultimate end game of the Luciferian agenda is to stop the descent and the coming rule of the King of Heaven, who will bring peace to the world, who will end all the wars. Well, we'll talk about that at the end also. This is Russ Dizdar, the organization Shatter the Darkness, and I'm here to talk to you a little bit today and to cry out to those who are still chosen ones. I know that by the providence of the living God of heaven, that this will get into the hands of those who are going to be listening, but the sub-personalities on the inside you're going to hear also. And I already know that some of you that are loyal to the Luciferian side, some of you will take this material and you'll give it to your handlers, you'll take it to your coven meetings, you'll give it to those rogue military leaders, whatever else, you'll send it out, which is fine. Because my agenda is not just the issue of exposure, which involves the preparation of the body of Christ and others, but it involves the impact of the message of the living God in contrast to the agenda that you've been birthed into and been programmed for and been empowered for. So this message is primarily to the satanic chosen ones, the satanic super soldiers, the Luciferians, those cult-loyal personalities on the sub-level that are co-conscious that are listening right now. Listen, I am speaking to you because maybe you do not realize what's inside of you. Years ago, I had somebody from and I won't go into all their background because I love them very much. I'm praying for them. I've never stopped praying for their total freedom, their total deliverance, and I've seen their hopes for it in the past, but they're still caught up in it. Driving in a car and being piggybacked by other Shatter the Darkness members, we're engaging in a conversation with a cult multiple, a chosen one, a highly trained, out of the military, out of CIA, out of DID and DIA. There's an individual that's been heavily involved in military, heavily involved in the Luciferian agenda, very powered up, highly programmed, numerous sub-level personalities. They know how to split, they know how to program, they know how to do a lot of things. We're driving along in the car and we're engaged in conversation, and all of a sudden as I pull over for whatever reason just to sit and talk for a moment, the person switches. In other words, the sub-personality from the inside comes up. Not one that I have talked to, not one that I have known, but they reach down in a handbag and pull out a 9mm and they begin to look at it, and I saw that they pulled the chamber back. The bullet was in the chamber, and I didn't know if I was going to get shot at the moment, and all of a sudden they look over at me and they said, "Do you see my gun?" And I said, "Yes," and we talked a little bit about the 9mm. And finally they asked me, do I want to take a look at it? Well, I asked them what their name was, and they just said, "My name is Assassin. My name is Assassin." My name is Assassin, they told me. That's their function. That's all they knew about. They're a sub-personality.